When did Paul first contact you, or what was the process of In the Valley of Elah coming to you as a project?
Well, Paul called me, and I was very flattered that he thought of me, and he said, I'm sending you a script, and I thought, oh, great. And then I got the script, and I thought that the project was really wonderful, and that Tommy Lee was an excellent choice, and Charlize, of course, but I couldn't quite understand what my job in the movie was, because the part I felt didn't really have enough of a I didn't know what my job was in the movie, and having spent a lot of time with moms that had lost kids and in this war, and spent time with veterans, and been to Walter Reed, and done some kind of experience way before I got the script, I thought there's got to, you have to decide what this woman's function is. And so then I got it back, and he'd done a little bit of work on it, and I said, well, if we can work out my dates, I'll be happy to do it.
You and Tommy worked together on The Client. When did you learn that Tommy was on board to play Hank, and were you excited to learn the two of you might work together again?
I knew that Tommy Lee had been hired when I got the script, and so when I read it, I saw him, and I thought, I don't know anyone that could do this as powerfully as he can, so that was intriguing. And then, of course, we worked together in Memphis, coincidentally, I guess it was now 15 years ago or 14 years ago, when we filmed The Client, and so I knew I could trust him. I knew he was smart. I knew he felt familiar to me, so it made it a little bit easier to play an old married couple, because we were old actors who'd worked together a number of years ago. And so when I got there, even though I was just there for a little over a week, it felt very much like coming home, and that part really was easier for me.
In your words, tell us what you think In the Valley of Elah is about.
I think the story reminds you that war changes people. I think there's been a huge disconnect between the real war and the politicized war, and this movie is about the price you pay when you're in a war, and especially in a war where you're in a civilian population and you don't know your enemy, you can't see your enemy. It reminds you of what these kids are asked to do, and what they have to do in order to stay alive. And it reminds you that they need help when they get back to integrate into the population, to deal with what they've seen and what they've lost and what they've done. And we're not stepping up to the plate with that challenge.
And one last question. When was the first time you met Paul? And please describe your relationship with him on the set, and what that collaboration was like working with Paul Haggis.
I don't think I'd met Paul before I showed up on location, unless it was just in the chaos of Academy Awarddom at some point. I don't know, or I don't know that we'd met. So I agreed to do it before meeting him, and I showed up on the set, and I could tell from the script that he had a vision. I knew that we discussed certain things that he was absolutely adamant about keeping, that I want to change. So I knew that he had a very clear idea of what he needed and what he wanted, and we were working quickly, and I think that vision really helped.